Welcome to this week's NIB News Update.
During the National Insurance Board's Get Well Bahamas Challenge, challengers got an opportunity to grow vegetables in their own backyards. While a few of the challengers had gardening experience, most of them were garden novices. However, thanks to Chad Thompson, Vice President and Farm Manager at Homegrown Bahamian Growing, the challengers now understand how to go about building a raised bed at home.
I guess the best thing to do when you start in your bed is when you use recycled materials. That way you save money and it's much easier than having to go out and buy all your materials. Now let's get started with building our sheet mulch or our raised bed, right? Sorry, David. I need you to get the compost for me. First, what we're gonna do, we're gonna spread a 1/2-inch layer of manure or compost. And what that'll do is that'll act as our nitrogen. And we could also put any other amendments we may need, such as lime or sulfur, whichever we need to help balance out the pH in our soil or any other nutrients that it's lacking. All right? So as he's spreading that, after we do this layer, we come with the newspaper. So, sorry, Dara. Yeah, so just put one sheet. We're gonna start to cover it. Right, exactly. And what I'll do now is as we're doing that, I'll wet it down. So what that does, this helps it to start to break down faster. It's best to do this now because as you start to pile up the layers, what'll happen is it's harder for all the water to seep down, so it's quicker this way. We just want this layer to be about 1/2 inch, so let's say like about 4 or 5 on top. All right, and also another thing the newspaper oxides too is it helps suppress any weeds. So if we were doing this on a grass bed, this actually helps suppress any or smother any weeds from growing through your bed, right? So now we can start putting on another layer of compost or manure. All this organic matter we're putting is now feeding all of the earthworms and other microbes in the soil, so it's now helping to bring your soil to life. Now what we're gonna do is add some organic matter. So we will use our bulk material, which is, here I have some old dried weeds, some stalks from some taller weeds, and some seaweed, all obviously from the beach. So this layer, this will be about a 4-inch layer, and this is where we're gonna get most of our bulk from. This turns down and will turn into humus. So you can also wet that down. Try to wet every pile just so that when you wring it out, just a couple of drops of water come out, so it's similar to a wrung out sponge, where it's still moist, but not soggy. But and all of this stuff, all the materials are right from around the yard. Found right here in the garden. And now, what we have here, in about 6 months, this will be ready to plant in. And what happened was, it took us, 10 minutes?
Yep.
No sweat, right? And now if you do this in the summertime, during the fallow period, you have enough time now for it to break down. And by the time the winter season comes along, you can grow.
Mr. Thompson also shared helpful tips with the challengers about how to properly maintain their crops.
A quick trick for when you're covering it up is you just bring the whole bark along the edge and all of that dirt will bark fill.
Back on top of it.
Exactly.
Wow. Simple.
Exactly. And now when you come back over it with the hose and water it, that'll help compact it, take out any of the air pockets, right? And
You don't want to saturate too much.
no, you don't want to saturate it. You want to water it thoroughly and just make sure that it's
Moist.
moist, right? And also too, when you plant in your greens, also remember succession planting. So now that we did this row this week, next 2 weeks we can plant another row. That way you don't have to harvest all at once. The good rule is to water them every evening. And in fact, you can check them every morning and every evening if you need water. Anytime it's wet, it's dry, water it. So a good test is to just put your 2 knuckles into the ground. And if it feels moist, you don't have to water. Now if it feels dry, you have to water, right? All the tips we showed you should basically start you guys off well into your garden. So the next time we meet, we'll go over transplanting and basic harvesting techniques.
Homegrown Bahamian Growing provided the participants with beet, beans, thyme, cilantro, sage, and tomato seeds, along with a seedling tray and basic gardening tools. After assessing each challenger's yard, Mr. Thompson helped them establish their own home gardens. The challengers were all enthusiastic about growing their own healthy food.